Mainstream media, maybe not the biggest soccer fans in the world, who are basically saying, look, we don't want to hear any excuses. The US made it through the group stages 4 years ago. If they don't do the same this time round, then we've regressed as a country.
I don't think that's fair, obviously, but I do think it's actually the reality. Because two things we know about American fans, and I'm not talking soccer fans, in general, the casual viewer. One, they'll be watching during the World Cup.
Yep.
Two, Americans love a winner, right? So the reality is even though the U.S. men's national team, I think, has gotten much better, and even though the U.S. men's national team got out of the last World Cup, and there was tremendous excitement in 2002 as well with the quarterfinal appearance, if even with the group the U.S. has, if they don't get through, the casual viewer will say, there we go again. We're still not good, because they don't understand.
100% fair. In 2013, obviously next summer, the summer of 2014, if you're a U.S. soccer fan, whether you've been in it for years or whether you're just coming to it, you should expect your U.S. team to get out of the group, regardless of what group. This is American exceptionalism, and with that comes an expectation, sometimes an unrealistic expectation, but I think in this instance, you're not delusional if you say, looking at this group, that the U.S. could get at it. Is it difficult? Absolutely it's difficult, but you know what? There comes a time, and we heard it, to either put up or shut up. And for Jurgen Klinsmann, who has talked about having a team and individuals who believe that they can win, having a more proactive type of style, taking it to teams, dictating the rhythm and the flow of the game, well, this is where you do it, and you do it against the best. And if the U.S. really has progressed and evolved, then it has to be shown at the World Cup against the best in the world.
I like that expression, Alexi. Ian, it's time for the U.S. to put up or shut up.
Well, maybe, yeah. That is a point of view. And the players themselves and Jurgen Klinsmann himself would say, yes, to have any success or to be called a success, we had Tim Howard on the show last week saying exactly this, we have to get out of the group. Having said that, there does need to be a bit of a reality check. This is a hard draw. There's no way of sugarcoating it. Ghana have got a terrific midfield, but I think the USA, on a day, even though it's the bogey team, can beat them. Portugal the same. They dropped points against Israel and Northern Ireland in qualifying. They do have off days. They've got Cristiano Ronaldo, but again, I think there are hopes for the USA on a given day. Germany, I think, is a defeat. I'll be honest about it. But what they need is 4 points from those two first games, and they might be in business.
Is this a problem, though, for US soccer, Alexi, that this is a litmus test just every 4 years as to whether or not we progressed or regressed?
Welcome to life. Welcome to soccer. I mean, whether it's Julie playing for the national team or myself playing for the national team, the responsibility wasn't just on getting the result. The responsibility was moving soccer along. That's a huge responsibility and pressure. But the reality is, and you know that next summer there's going to be a lot of people in the U.S. that don't necessarily watch soccer on a consistent basis, that tune in because it's an event. And they are going to associate what they see with soccer in the United States. And that is a responsibility that comes with putting on that jersey. I think the players understand that. Everybody understands that. And to be quite honest, most of us that have been around here, we welcome it. It's just part of being an American soccer player.
It's a massive responsibility.
Alexi, I think it's an important thing. You'll know this, that I think US teams play well as the underdogs. It might have been more difficult for them to be playing this among the favourites and with a big expectation that they should get through. I think this team will be very well prepared, very, very fit, with a lot of confidence about it, and it might be the kind of setup they relish.
Absolutely. The underdog role is something that this U.S. team has had in their pocket for a number of years. To be fair, getting from the underdog role to being able to play well and the favorite role, that's a difficult transition, and I don't think that one that even Jurgen Klinsmann's team has been able to do. So getting back into that comfort zone of being the underdog against some teams, at least where the perception is both domestically and internationally that you don't have a chance, that might be just what the doctor ordered for Jurgen Klinsmann, although over the last few years, he's promised that that's not what they are about. And even the other day after the World Cup draw, Jurgen Klinsmann told us that he doesn't consider themselves underdogs. Well, don't care what Jurgen Klinsmann says. The perception is, and to a certain extent the reality is, they are without a doubt underdogs in this group, but it might suit them.
What happens if they don't get through, Alexi?
Problems. I think that Jurgen Klinsmann, the way people view Jurgen Klinsmann and his time will be hurt. I think that people will look at soccer and say, you got to figure it out. This is the United States.
But don't you think now at least, I mean, to your point, Dan, you said it's hard if you're judged every 4 years, but now at least, I think in this country, we've come so far as that it's not necessarily every 4 years. Yes, everyone's watching at the World Cup, but MLS has made strides to where people are paying attention between those runs. The women's team obviously has made strides where people are paying attention. So I think the climate is a little bit better.
Sure.
And I do think there are enough followers in this country now who are soccer savvy enough to understand that, hell, that was a tough group. And even though if the U.S. doesn't get through, this team is progressing rather than regressing. I think there are enough. The issue is we still haven't gotten those viewers to watch on television. So that's, I think, where the World Cup plays a huge part, is those numbers on television jump tremendously after a successful World Cup.
Well, having that
I think
big
a key
picture
thing too
view
here
is
is.
important. Go ahead, Ian.
I think a key thing here, sorry to interrupt, guys,
Okay.
is the manner at which, if they do go out, they can't be wiped out, play very badly, look a dead loss there.
Right.
If they go out bravely, playing really well, and it's a little bit unlucky, that's different
But
from getting
is
no
that
points from the
different?
group and not even getting close.
Is that different, Alexi? I think, is that a bit of an English attitude? We kind of like to stiff upper lip. Losing's losing, isn't it?
Losing's absolutely. It's also losing within the context of what American sports are, what America is. We want to win, and sometimes we don't look at the reality of the situation, but I would argue that sometimes doing that actually makes us achieve more. And so if they were to bomb out and bomb out with dignity, yes, that's okay. And yes, there's much more perception and perspective when you talk about what you're talking about in existence right now. But it's still losing. And at some point, this U.S. team has to be able to go into these situations and win and reap the benefits from that win, both on and off the field.